So to start off, I folded my pattern paper into two. This is to enable us achieve that asymmetric hemline and also the asymmetric shoulder for the blouse. So I've already marked out my shoulder line. On my shoulder line, I'll be marking out my shoulder divided by 2. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. Then I'll go in on by 3 inches for my neck width, and I'll connect the 2 points together, forming my shoulder slope. And from that point of shoulder slope, I'll be coming down by 7.5. That is my armhole depth. So with that, I'll be able to generate my chest line. To get this, you just divide your bust by 6. You add 1.5 inch to it. So I'll be connecting this line to give me my armhole line. So from there, I'll be marking out all my vertical lines, my bust point, under bust, the waistline, then the hip line. The blouse is expected to stop at the hip line, but because of that sharp extension in the front, I'll be coming down from the hip line by 5 inches. So this is what we're going to be using to get that asymmetric design in the front. So after marking the 5 inch, I'm going to roll a straight line. So from there, I proceeded to get all my measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance, my bust, my waist measurement, and my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. So then I proceed to get my dart line out using 4 inches. So from my bust point, I drew out the 4 inches line down to that 5 inch extension that I marked. So now we're going to get our dart. So I went in by half an inch the center from for under bust and the waist. Then I connected it with a straight line. Then I on the dart line from the bust point, I came down by 1 inch. Then I connected it to that half inch mark I did. Then at the other side, I came out by 1.5 inch for the underbust and the waist, connected it also. Then using my curve rule, I'm going to connect it to the bust point line. So then I proceeded to my shoulder. I came down by 3 inches, marked 3 inches. Then on that point of 3 inch, I went out by 1.5 inch. So I'll be joining my bust point line to these 2 points I just marked. So I used a slight curve rule to connect to the 3 inch. Then I connected again to the 1.5 inch extension this way. So I first of all use curve rule, then I use a straight rule to connect it to give me a very beautiful curve. So I'll be bringing down my darts, like I'll be bringing it down to that point of 5 inch. Whatever I had on the waistline and the underbust, I brought them down. So that will be my dart. So here I'm just marking out my armhole curve. This is supposed to be the armhole curve, but because of the extension we did, I'll be extending the armhole curve outward. So here I was measuring my bust with that additional joining a little space there. So I'll just add the inches there. Then I'll extend my armhole curve to meet that point. So after that, I just went ahead to add all the darts that I took out, the 2 inch dart I took out for the waist and hip. So I did that, I just joined them. Then on the hip line, I added extra 1 inch because the hip is supposed to push out a little bit. So I extended it by 1 inch. Then I did my side dart of 1 inch. Then I connected it back to my bust point. So on that dart leg from the hip line, I came up by 5 inch. That's for the side front. Then from the same point, I went in by 3 inch. Went inside by 3 inch. So I'm going to be connecting these 3 points together. starting from 1 inch I took by the side of that hip, yes, then I come to that 3 inch, then I go up to the 5 inches. Then I'll be connecting this using my curve rule. I chose to use my curve rule. You can use your free hand to design it however you want. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. You're going to be very careful when cutting it out. Make sure you just cut from the extension, then cut around your pattern. Don't cut out this curve we just drew now. So I went ahead to slash open my side dart, then my center dart, so that I'll be able to close up the side dart. So here I've closed up the side dart. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the center piece, then cut around the pattern. So what I'm doing here is I decide to do a little bit shaping, tightening. So I came in by 1 inch at the waist line, then I'll be connecting it back to my chest line, then blend it to the hip line also. So here I'm cutting out the pattern, because we're going to be opening the pattern up so that we'll be able to modify the hemline to give us that asymmetric hem. So yeah, you see I didn't cut out the other curve. So after opening it up, I'll be taping it down to make it easier for me to achieve this. So what I'm going to do, at that side front where I did that initial curve, the dart leg there, so to get this part, this is what we want to achieve. The center front at the other side, I came in by 1 inch, then I connected it to meet that 5 inch that I went up by. So I'll be connecting that point now back to the hip line of the other side. Remember, we've already done the curving of this side, so it's this other side now. So this is it. So all I'm going to do now is to cut it out. Remember, you go in by 1 inch, then extend it to the 5 inch and I initially marked out. So I'm going to be carving out everything now. I'm going to be cutting it out for you to see how it will turn out. So here I'm done with this. So I'm going to go ahead and achieve the asymmetric neckline. So this is what we want to achieve. So what we are going to do now, from the center of this neck, I came out by 3.5 at one side, then at the other side I came out by 4.5. So I'm going to from that 4.5, I went down by 7 inch. You can make yours lower or you can bring it up. So I'll connect these 3 points together. The 4.5 is where you go in by 7 inch. Then the 3.5, you're going to curve it to meet the 4.5. It's better to use a slightly curved ruler here, not a straight rule. So this is what I'm going to be. I'll connect these 3 points for you to see how it will come out. So this is basically it for this neckline. You can switch it anyhow, you can switch it to the other side, but this is how it is on the picture. So I'll go ahead and cut it and show you how it will come out. So this can actually be achieved without you taping down the bust area. You can achieve it by getting this measurement on the center piece alone. So this is how it turned out. So I'll go ahead and do the back pattern for us to see. So for the back pattern, I already went ahead to mark all the vertical measurements. So I'll be marking out my bust divided by 4 plus my seam allowance. I did the same thing for my waist, divided by 4 plus my seam allowance, and I added 1 inch dart. The same thing for the hip. Then I'll join the points together. Remember, the hip came out by additional 1 inch. So here I'm marking my dart, of 1 inch, connecting it to the bust point and also to the hip line. So I'll be forming my shoulder, my armhole curve here. So I came out by 1 inch for the bust, connected it, then I did a little tightening at the waist point, then I joined them. So this is just it for the back. So you can decide to make your back 2-piece. So to do that, you just measure whatever you have on your shoulder, divide it by 2, get the midpoint, then you just connect it to the bust point and slash open your pattern, removing the dart. So I want mine to be in 2-piece, but you can just leave yours as a 1-piece and just hold the dart, but I really want it to be like this. So that is just it for this pattern. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you. See you in my next lesson.